So Trump was on Fox and Friends. Let's just jump right into this. So Trump called into Fox and Friends, and I'm sure they'll have some insight into this. Philip, I'm sure you and I will both learn something, right, about, we do indeed, Philip, have to talk in person. I'm sure we'll all learn a lot about geopolitics from this interview. It's just Donald Trump interviewed by Fox and Friends. So this should answer all of the, the unanswerable questions. And 666 in the super chat. Yay! Yes, I after the cruise, I am a broke son of a bitch. So if you feel like super chatting, now's the time. $6.66 when we get 666 people in here just to mess with the trolls who fancy themselves Christians but couldn't act less like them, curiously enough. All right, here we go.
To it, let's bring in the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining Fox and Friends Weekend.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you. It's an honor, and we have a lot of problems in this country.
It's an honor to be on Fox and Friends. You think he's waiting for them to say it, and then his brain just says it because he's expecting the phrase? It's an honor to have you on, sir. And nobody says it, so he just assumes it's an honor. I mean, for you to have me on.
But it's an honor to be with you.
Well, we're grateful to have you, sir. Well, let's start with the headline we've had all morning long. What's happening in Russia, what's happening in Ukraine. The White House right now is saying an attack could happen at any time. On your assessment, where are we and how did we get here?
Well, first of all, it's shocking because this should have never happened. It should have never happened. It would not have happened. And how?
Well, yeah, it wouldn't have had to have been an attack. You were just going to give them Ukraine during your second term.
Got here is when they watched Afghanistan and they watched the most incompetent withdrawal. And
yes, they looked at Afghanistan and said, "Shit! If we don't roll into Ukraine now, before they, they're going to find a really great way to spend that $300 million a day." He has no idea. Yeah,
to probably any army, let alone just us. They saw that, and President Xi and President Putin. Watch what happens with China versus with Taiwan. But,
yeah. Well, okay.
they watched that and they said,
"These are let's send the dirty side forward because I don't like these guys."
What's going on? They don't know what they're doing.
Then why don't you tell us what they're doing? Why don't you actually expound on some strategy? I don't want to be too much of a dick right out of right out of the gate. But for Christ's sake, just saying something's not good and terrible and wasn't good and this is why and they probably want to give us a little more meat on the bone, maybe just go, strategically we've got, even if he mentioned the thaw of the ground and the time scale and how quickly they can do it and what it takes to move gear and why they want Crimea and whether or not Belarus is serious about them launching an attack from there or whether it's just posturing. And if they did launch an attack from Belarus, if the citizens of Belarus that have relatives in Ukraine would go, wait a fucking second, I thought this was just for show. Shit I know from reading that, and I haven't even had, 4 years of the PDB to look at.
All of a sudden, I think they got a lot more ambitious. I think Putin really wanted to negotiate for a period of time. I think what he wanted...
Yeah, he wanted to negotiate. Tell you what, you give me Ukraine, and I give you almost all copies of PP tape.
Afghanistan, when he watched that unbelievably bad withdrawal.
And by the way, thank you for the Venmos that just came in. Heather, thank you so much. And Robert, thank you. My phone was making a noise, and I couldn't figure out what it was because my watch is dead never mind. Thank you.
Where they took the military out first, where they left $85 billion worth of equipment behind.
Okay. All right. Again, $85 billion is the amount of money we spent on gear for the Afghan military and our own stuff that we burned or blew up years ago, and the training and the contractors doing the training. That's the $85 billion. We didn't leave $85 billion contractors there. The fuck are you talking about? Like, that lie has been dead for months. Is anybody going to tell him?
The Taliban to have and to sell and to use. And, of course, the death the deaths that happened. When they watched all of that.
You mean the 64 deaths that happened in Afghanistan while Trump was president? And he only went to 4 of the transfers of their bodies being brought home. Only went to, out of 96 of the ones that happened during his time, including soldiers who had died elsewhere. He was only at 4 of the exchanges. Those deaths? No, not those deaths. Obviously, a single suicide bomber on a speedy withdrawal that we had already negotiated an extra 3 months to get people out because Trump and Stephen Miller stopped us from doing all the lead-in work, which made it a crush at the end, which is the cause of it. So, for the record, Trump is to blame for all the deaths that happened in the evacuation of Afghanistan because he had 2 years to draw down the people that were at the embassy and other people who were going to be moved out and the Afghans who were helping us. And he rode the brake on all of it on purpose to slow the process because he never intended to leave. So fuck that.
They got emboldened.
President Trump, Joe Biden is scheduled to be on a call today with Vladimir Putin. What do you think he can say? What should he say? If you were in office.
Yes. If you were in office, what should he say? Here it comes. Finally, some strategy. We're going to hear some specifics. He's not going to say it never would have happened, and I had great respect, and these are people and our allies, and NATO is a problem. He's not going to say that. He's going to give us real, actual, here comes, this is plans. I mean, this is basically like him reading out loud his own personal PDB.
Today, what would you say to Vladimir Putin?
Well, I would.
Please don't release the PP tape. Right.
In this position, because we're in a very bad position right now, and it would have, as I said, it would never have happened. I know him very well, got along with him very well.
Motherfucker. Yeah, he would rather have a friend like me than all of Ukraine and its oil and gas reserves and its strategic value as a buttress against NATO expansion. I mean, it was like, golf with Donald Trump as the cheating fat son of a, who's never going to pay me back, or all of Ukraine and its resources and its strategic. But I do like golf.
His pipeline, I sanctioned them more than anybody ever sanctioned them.
The House and Senate did. He had to carry them out.
Nobody was ever tougher on Russia, but I got along with Putin very well. We respected each other. I think you have a whole different ballgame right now. This is just an exercise. He's not going to tell him anything, and I don't think Putin's at this point going to be listening. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does in terms of the depth. Will he take a small piece? When Biden originally said he's going in, everybody was like, did he just say that? Nobody could believe it, but he said it. And it was almost like a card. Ukraine went crazy when he saw that, when they heard that, the president. But
he means talking about like a minor incursion and us arguing about what they're going to do. What he was talking about was cyber attacks specifically, because they've been talking about that earlier in the meeting. That part gets left out, but never mind. The idea is that if they're not troops, not physical people coming in, but they're fucking with the energy grid or shutting down hospitals and that kind of stuff, that would be an argument about what would be the proper response in those circumstances. Do we, on Ukraine's behalf, hit them with a cyber attack? Does NATO do it? Does that mean that Ukraine is default in NATO? Anyways.
Now, the phone call, I think, is perfunctory. I don't think much is going to come out of it.
Yes, sir.
No, that's not what they asked you, dum-dum. They asked what you would say to him, like in the situation right now. Not magical world where you're president forever. Let's just pretend it's you won and it's 5 years from now and you're no longer in office and Nancy Pelosi is the vice president to Hillary Clinton, and they both got in by cheating, whatever you want to make up your own fantasy nightmare, and for yourself, Mr. Former President. And then they're in this situation, and you're like, I need to call them up and fix this so that, and what would you say? Nothing, right? That's nothing.
Republicans have introduced a bill that would block aid to Ukraine until our southern border is secure. The thinking is...
Yes, because it's the same thing. children from Guatemala being found in the desert. I mean, they might as well be mortars fired by the Russians.
Would we be worried about a border in Europe when there is a disaster happening right here at home? Do you think that those two
Because there isn't one?
issues should be linked?
Well, I certainly understand how people feel. We had the strongest border we've ever had, our southern border. We were
Yeah, and then he built a wall, and then it all went to shit.
2 weeks away from finishing the wall after going through 2.5 years of lawsuits with the Democrats.
Control room. You're showing troops arriving in Poland. He's already moved on. He's not going to even go back to this. He's going to stick with how great the slat fence is.
And winning them all. We were 2.5, 3 weeks away from, think of it, finishing the
Wait a minute. First it was a month, then it was 3 weeks. Now it's 2.5 weeks. Fuck, can somebody just give him a paintbrush and he'll go down and finish it himself?
wall, which is largely, frankly, finished anyway. It's a tremendous help.
Thank you.
We had the best numbers in the history of our country on the southern border. Very little was
No, we didn't. And by the way, except thank you, COVID, I guess.
coming in, very few people.
Yes, his total strategy for lowering immigration was a constant pandemic. Think of Romney's self what was it, self repatriation or whatever he was talking about, where self deportation. That's what it was. Where Mitt Romney was like, his plan was self deportation. People will just self deport. I guess his plan was to make America so shitty no one would want to come. And Trump's plan is kind of the same kind of idea. We had it so good. What we'll do is we'll just have a random disease rolling through the place, and no one will want to cross the border for fear of catching it.
Coming in, other than coming in legally, we had the lowest.
By the way, look at these people crossing the border. They look, I don't know, but they don't look like they're ready to work at a Chili's or at Mar-a-Lago, short sheeting beds for minimum wage with a little sliced off the top. That guy looks armed. And the idea that the Biden administration is letting that guy, who's an American soldier, going to another country, but that's not the point. It's the conversation over the video that matters.
Numbers, the best drug numbers in the last 32 years.
Yeah, they're the best drug numbers. Shit.
And they were getting much better rapidly. And all of a sudden, this guy takes over and the border is opened and we have millions of people. I think
it was so great. Like, no one was going anywhere. People were just staying home, even in other countries. Mexico had fewer cases than we did for a good long while. So why would they come over here and catch something to bring home? People literally were worried about the disease passing on things you touched, especially early on. That was a concern. So even if you came over here to work and send the money back, would you be sending disease back? So everybody stayed home and stuff. It's amazing. What a great way to solve your border crisis is just make your place the new epicenter of a spreading disease. I mean, screw the wall. Just have a big mouth just coughing south.
10 million. They say 3 million. But
wait, hang the fuck out. What?
And they were getting much better rapidly. And all of a sudden, this guy takes over and the border is opened and we have millions of people. I think it's 10 million. They say 3 million. But
what? There's no fucking way 10 million people across the border. Okay. By the way, Pauline, thank you for the super chat, and I will gladly tell some rock and roll stories on the morning shows this week. That's what I'm going to review this stuff. We'll try to keep the shows separate. So Wednesday and Friday, when I do the morning shows, I'll have pictures and I'll be able to show them and all that stuff, and I'll tell you some of the stories from the boat if you want to tune in. Morning shows at 9 a.m. First of all, we know, I've showed you guys many times, and we don't have to even look at it again, but any of the trolls who want to go look up border recidivism in 2021, and then I guess find someone to grab you by the ears and pull your head out of your ass. But it's the 2.1 million people crossing. That's with a 56% recidivism automatically on top of it. So it's literally half. It's the same number of people that tried to cross in 2019. They're just trying to cross multiple times, but they keep getting caught and sent back. Yes, you heard that right. They keep getting caught and they get sent back. Mexico's not going to stop them, so they try to cross again and they fail, and they try to cross again and they fail. Now, why do they do that? Because there's a lot of open jobs over here. One of the biggest stories up here is we've got all these jobs that can't be filled. It's fucking amazing how many there are. And a lot of those jobs, guess what, used to be filled with under-the-table like cash, undocumented workers. A lot of those folks aren't around anymore because of COVID and because they were kept on the other side of the border. They're being automatically expelled because that's what that Title 42, I think it's called, is what's sending them back. The reason they keep coming is because there's a lot of jobs that aren't filled. Jobs that, quite frankly, a lot of immigrants take. Starter jobs, low-wage jobs. Jobs you can take when you're living 6, 7 people to a house. That's just the reality of being a migrant worker like that. Especially in places like Arizona, Texas, and Florida. Now, you can go look up all the Mar-a-Lago hiring people illegally all you want. It's got a long history of it. But you have people trying and trying and trying again because the jobs are there. There's a lot of jobs unfilled. So, anyways.
People coming in, countries all over the world are releasing their prisoners into our country. We're like a dump.
Yeah, we're a dumping ground for prisoners and stuff. And it's so nice of them. Yeah, Yemen's releasing all their Yemeni Ted Bundys in rowboats. Now, leave the fish alone until you get to the United States. Okay. All right.
Ground. So I can certainly understand how people feel when they say, let's try and tie one to the other. We fight for other people's borders, but we don't fight for our own border. We're this.
Yeah, we don't have to fight for our border. We have an established border. Mexico is not attacking us. And by the way, you're friends with the president of Mexico, right? Even though he's socialist or something, according to you. You're buddies. And yet he's still dumping his murdery, rapey, pedo-y monster people into the state. But he's a friend of yours. It's kind of like you and Jeffrey Epstein. You just get along. 1,000 people in the chat. Yay! Feel like throwing $10 my way for the show. If you haven't been here in a few days, that's lovely. 1,000 is when we usually do it, and we've hit that point or whatever. One of these days, we're going to hit 2,000 people in the chat. I just know it. Now, I know most of them will be Russian bots who, just need people running chat bots that just need a break. You have a rough life, trolls. We feel for you. Welcome. Glad you're here. So sorry you're having a rough life. You got to make a buck somehow. And, we feel for you. Just keep the racial epithets and the anti-gay epithets to a minimum. Try not to say anything too brutally sexist if you can, either direction. Try. And, just like your average, anything you type helps me in the algorithm, quite frankly. I just don't want to have to dump you because you're, grotesque.
Most secure border we've ever had at the south, and
at the south. What was the northern border all fucked during the Trump years, and now we're finding out?
It was great to me. They helped us. It gave us 28,000 soldiers free of charge, because otherwise we would have, as you know, tariffed all of their cars and things coming.
Yes, they did it as a favor because I was going to destroy the auto industry in the United States because those are all Fords and GM cars that are made over there, and I was going to tariff the shit out of them. No wonder he and Putin got along, because basically Putin's entire strategy in Ukraine is, if you don't let me threaten my cousin, I'm going to shoot my cousin. That's the whole plan. This is the same shit.
And then we got along great with Mexico. We had the Mexico stay in Mexico policy. Now it's called stay in the United States. Whoever you are, just come on in.
No. By the way, if you're listening to this broadcast, no, it isn't. Stop it. And by the way, the only people, I continue to say this, the only people you will see saying that the American border is open and is lawless and anybody can come in, which is not true. The only people saying that are Republicans. Trump, Ted Cruz, All these fuckers, they'll get all over Fox News and go, yeah, borders wide open. I don't even know what. And then they're like, I don't know why all these people are coming. Jesus Christ.
It's a very terrible thing. And I must tell you, I do understand how they feel when we're fighting for other countries, but we're not fighting for our own.
Yeah, Mr. President, not only are we fighting for our own,
just
facilitating that transportation with secret flights in the middle of the night, things you've heard about as well. But I want to go to our other border, if we can, Mr.
Oh, by the way, what he means is the children, the minor human beings, the children that are found in the desert and dropped over the fucking wall because someone desperate to get out of whatever country they're in, largely either Haiti, Guatemala, Honduras, Venezuela, and these kind of places who made the trek up, know that they'll never be able to get in, but they drop the kid in, no ID, no nothing, so they're never going to be able to find their kid again, in theory, unless I got it sewn inside, in which case the State Department finds the family and returns the child and goes, here's your child back. But in the cases where they can't, they get NGOs in the United States or in their home countries. If they can get it from if the kid is old enough to say where they came from, they can return them to an NGO in their own country, which they've been doing. If they can't, they place them with NGOs, Catholic charities, or family members, if they do find them in the United States, on a monitor, just like a minor version of DACA, and they fly them in children. These are children. Now the Biden administration is flying them on flights that, weirdly enough, leave Texas in the afternoon, flying east, and arrive in New York after dark. So I don't know why the Biden administration won't shift timescales or reverse the spin of the earth so that it doesn't look sketchy that you want to be able to get kids when they're most awake on a plane and get them off the plane later when they're asleep. That's not hard. All right, time to get up. And anyways, they're taking them to Catholic charities and stuff in upstate New York and that kind of thing because they're fucking children. Right? What was that pro-life bullshit you guys always tout? Something about children and innocent life and innocent that kind of thing. Yeah, because you're not putting a bill forward like the return that the home to mama fucking bill, where we're allocating money to make sure that every child is, we DNA check them and we find their parents in these countries and we work with these countries to get the DNA of anybody that comes across the border. So therefore, if somehow they tried to come across like, oh, hey, we remember you, this is your kid, we can put them back together, something like that, right? That would be a thing if you actually gave a fuck. But what they're for, what he's for specifically, and what Ted Cruz is for, and what Jim Jordan is for, is leaving these kids in the desert. Fuck them. That's the plan. And when the United States says, Christ almighty, somebody ditched a child on our border, on our side of the border, in the fucking desert, and we found this child, this minor child, in some cases 6, 8 years old, separated from an 11-year-old that they're walking with because they just don't have the strength to hold their hand anymore. They just keep walking. We find that child in the desert, and the idea that they're flown in the afternoon and arrive in the evening at a Catholic charity that will feed them and teach them English and welcome them into American life so that one day they'll look positively upon this country instead of just being a corpse story in the, in whatever Arizona newspaper wants to run one. I honestly, the whole pro-life thing, like, first of all, they're for the death penalty, so piss off. But second, thank you, my love. Hi. You want to come over and show him your t-shirt? No, she doesn't feel like showing her t-shirt. She's wearing a Monsters Rock t-shirt. Because we have, yeah. It looks beautiful. It looks good on you. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm.
Your things are going off.
What? I know. They're going to die. The battery's going to die. Sorry. I brought Long story, but I brought lightsabers, like retractable ones on the thing because I was going to do a spinning sword thing. Like spinning double swords like David Lee Roth would do. But our outside gig, you wouldn't have seen them. And the inside gig, when we went in there, the ceiling was too low. And the stage was too small. I would have hit somebody. So I'm saving them for if you come see us at Yamava, that will probably be the first time we introduce that. So, anyways. Thank you, Corinne. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $20 Canadian. And thank you guys for the Venmos as well. Thomas, oh my God, thank you. And Mary and Heather and Robert, thank you guys so much. All right, so again, I call bullshit on the pro-life thing because you just don't give a crap once they're alive. You're pro-fetus, and you're only that way because it doesn't take any responsibility. Anybody can be for the unborn. I mean, you're not really, because they're against, free prenatal care, right? I mean, if you were really pro-life, you would have a bill that provides all American mothers that are citizens free prenatal care if they can't afford it for every child. Because you want that baby to have every possibility to be born with every brain cell intact. Every possible head start it could get in terms of its nutrition. But you don't. You don't. So piss off with that nonsense. And then this dickhead, and presumably these two morons, want these kids left in the goddamn desert. That's these secret flights that they're talking about. Those secret flights, those are all children. We've watched them. We've looked at the video. They've shown the clip. They don't show the people coming off. They cut around that. Why do they cut around it? Why do they cut around the people coming off the plane? Because the people aren't adults.
President, and the idea of truckers and the trucker freedom convoy that's happening.
Yeah, the freedom trucker convoy. You mean the guys with weapons? You mean the guys who are threatening the lives of people? That they have, that story. Hold on, hold on. Truckers caches of weapons. Murphy is so pitiful. Bonnie, thank you so much for the Venmo. Truckers caches of weapons is it should come up. Yeah, there you go. It's just a peaceful protest for your freedoms. Canadian police arrest 11 people with massive weapons cache at Freedom Convoy protest. And they found massive weapons cache at the U.S.-Canada border with a smaller group aligned with the Freedom Convoy protest against vaccine mandates for truckers and other COVID-19 public health restrictions. Sorry, you're going into another fucking country. And I don't want to hear about your freedom issues in Canada because that ain't the United States. They have a largely parliamentary democratic system there, but they are still technically a monarchy. They're under the Queen. We fought a war so we don't have to deal with that shit at all. Again, so I don't want to hear about royals. I don't give a crap. Ever. I don't want to care if somebody marries in and they were treated like shit. I don't care. There are no magic families. I don't want to hear about that shit. I don't care. I'm not going to care. Sorry. You're never going to make me care about monarchy. I don't think we should have it in the United States. I thought it was a mistake when we had one Bush and the next Bush friggin' become presidents. Like a president's son becoming president. Screw that too. No. We're free enough where you can, legally, you should be able to do it. I think it's hilarious that a lot of people that weren't upset about George Bush Sr., his namesake son, George Bush Jr., which we fought a war against King George, for Christ's sake, becoming president. But Hillary can't because the Clintons are too much. She married him. She's not a Clinton. That's not a genetic line. That's his wife. It's not at all the same thing. But still. How's a reincarnated jester? Yeah, yes, I am that good. So anyways, the I don't need to hear about it. And so if you're going to go bitch about the laws in Canada, tough shit. All the more reason to be proud to be an American in that regard. And it is the shortcoming of the Canadians that they have, they don't have free speech. They have a lot stricter rules on that kind of stuff. And that's how they live. If you want to change that, become a Canadian citizen and then work to shift the system there. Get them to shrug off the monarchy for once.
There, not just in Ottawa, but now
you are technically
trade routes along the Canadian border. You've heard what, who you call them Justin from Canada, what Justin Trudeau has said about them. He's characterized them as racist, as bigots. But
yeah, dude, have you fucking seen them? Hold on. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm going to try to find the pictures of it. Where is it? Hold on. Yeah, I'll do some images. They don't want to post them because they're dirty. There you go. Home Depot. Mandate freedom. I'm not here you go. Not racist. I'm not an extremist. I am a Canadian. Right. Okay. By birth. There's a bunch of Indians who are Canadians that don't seem to be allowed in your convoy. It's weird. Oh, good Lord. Hold on one second. Here you go. Well, Canadian news is all words. You guys need more pictures. All right, we'll do that later.
The message has been clear from the beginning, Mr. President. The list of their demands has been terminate vaccine passports, terminate vaccine mandates, and stop the divisive rhetoric. They've been straightforward. They want freedom. What's your message to both?
First of all, this is on the side of one of the trucks, and he's just fucking straight up reading it like this is really what they're asking for. Okay. Ultimately, terminate vaccine passport and other contact tracing programs. No. You can't ask them to do that in a pandemic, dumbass. Sorry. These assholes don't even want to wear a mask into a place. That's part of the problem. Because you need to show like proof of vaccination in some of the places, but in other places, you just can wear a mask and go inside. But they're not going to do either because freedom. But it's Canada. Sorry. You got 80% of the freedoms of the United States in Canada. You have a lot of other benefits, but that's the trade-off, I suppose. Terminate vaccine mandates. And then the stop divisive rhetoric. What the fuck are you talking about? What's the divisive rhetoric? There's a disease going around, and we'd rather the most susceptible in our society not get it, so we need you to get vaccinated or wear a mask or both for a period of time until this is over and we reach the endemic phase of this and we have enough people that are vaccinated where it won't cascade through and destroy our health system. Jesus Christ. It's like they're yelling epithets at me. I can't hear anything. It's like I feel like a freedom marcher in Selma. Jesus Christ. Stop.
Freedom convoy and
stop the divisive rhetoric. Why would they want to shut down Fox News? No wonder they're upset.
Justin Trudeau.
People all over the world are watching, and they have respect for what they're doing. They're tired of being pushed around by incompetent people, being told what to do, being forced.
Oh, you mean like shutting everything down to slow the spread for weeks, and then having to extend it, and then months, and then setting up masking, and then being told what to do by what? He does realize he used to be president, right?
With the mandates should have not happened. I mean, I'm very proud of Warp Speed. Everybody has given us.
Oh, for son of a bitch. Can't say Operation Warp Speed and then catch me off guard like that. That's just wrong. Operation Fart Speed, thank you.
Captain's log.
Okay.
Nobody thought it was possible to do what we did. And that includes therapeutics, by the way, Regeneron and the...
Oh, yeah, even the ones that don't work against Omicron at all. Vaccine will protect you. I mean, you might get it, but you're not going to go to the hospital. If you do go to the hospital because you're not vaccinated, Regeneron and that shit doesn't work, apparently. Against
various
Omicron.
Therapeutics that work so well. But what we did with Warp Speed was great. But the mandates are very, very...
Son of a bitch.
Captain's
bad. Very, very bad. And I think there's a lot of respect for what they're doing. I see they have Trump signs all over the place, and I'm proud that they do. But that's what happens. You can push people so far. And our country is a tinderbox, too. Don't...
No, it isn't. We're not a fucking tinderbox. 90% of Canadian truckers are vaccinated. Most American truckers are vaccinated. Probably 78%, some shit like that. Seriously, I think a lot of people, I think one of the turning points in this nonsense will be that America is, and the Canadians, I guess, as well, and a good portion of the world, is a little bit tired. What we are getting tired of is being sheepdogged by the extremists in the world, like the hyper-libertarians, the hyper-Republicans, and the hyper-lefties. Like, so far off the rails that they can't even talk to their own party, their own fellow Democrats, fellow Republicans, fellow independents, without a vein showing up in their forehead. Those fuckers, that's who these are. Yeah. But again, 90% of Canadian truckers are vaccinated, and this isn't the other 10%. Even the 10% that aren't vaccinated, some of them have health reasons, some of them are semi-retired, some of them are waiting to go back to work when it's safer, so they figure after they'll just catch Omicron and then they'll have it like a natural immunity, but they're waiting to make sure, and yada, yada, yada. So this is probably 2% of that 10%.
Yourself. And there are plenty of our country up there right now, folks. When you look at what's happening.
Yes, they're the ones with the guns, and they can go fuck themselves.
When you look at what's happening in Canada, our country, I think, is far more of a tinderbox than Canada.
President Trump, we're
Yeah, but that's because Canadians are in general, like, the Canadian idea of a tinderbox, it's more like a tender box. Like, well, if you want to fight, but, let me get the door for you. Let's take this outside, after you. No, seriously, after you. No, you know what? You're not such a bad guy,
Blue states begin the process of loosening restrictions across the country.
Oh, yes. That's the other thing. Is like they're now pretending that because Delta has worked its way through and Omicron is the dominant variant and it seems to be a lighter variant and it gives you natural immunity and especially aligned with vaccination that can fight off things like Delta. That seems to be the direction it's going. And people think it's a little premature, but we are headed that direction. And it seems like, in South Africa and the UK and in Italy and other places where it's expanded, it's actually working out this way. So it's less, there's less to be fearful of from Omicron, in theory, especially if you've got as many people vaccinated, that we've got 75, 80% of people vaccinated in the United States, either fully and or boosted, that creates enough of a wall against the spread as well. And that's when you can start opening shit up again, because most people are better off. And you have the freedom to be a Trump fan and die to show fealty to him like a moron if you want to. But, you know, they're going to pretend time didn't pass. That basically the last 2 years didn't exist and that it was always bullshit and Delta was nonsense and the wild type and Alpha, as they were killing people, the ventilators, all that was all worthless. That was all nonsense. The whole thing, instead of time has passed and people are vaccinated and this is this strain is less harmful and gives more people, you know, natural immunity.
One chance to interview in the past, President Trump, I asked you about Dr. Fauci. You were at the front end on so many things as we panicked as a nation. You talked about balance.
As we panicked as a nation.
The shutdowns against our economy. And I asked you at that time about Dr. Fauci and the way the public viewed him. And you were beginning at that time to express some skepticism. I'm curious, and I'm not trying to give you the answer ahead of time, but I'm
yes, you fucking well are. Can you give us some like fuck Fauci news? Because we need some. We're running low on fuck Fauci, and we need some like people are starting to forget to hate him now. He's not in the news enough.
Curious, if you look back on the past 2 years, some of which was under your watch, when it comes to COVID, what would you have done? What would you do differently if put in the same position?
Well, I basically did opposite of whatever he told me, and that's what he's going to say.
Hindsight, what, if anything, would you do differently?
Well, we haven't been given credit, but we're starting to get credit. Warp speed was phenomenal.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Captain's log.
Okay.
Closed up the country to China.
Oh, Sylvia, thank you.
To Europe.
Look at that. The Canadians are representing. Thank you, Laura, by the way, from Canada as well. All the Canadians are stepping up. Thanks, guys. By the way, I am, for those of you that don't know, Canadian by injection. I lived in Canada for 6 years while I was doing Queer as Folk. We did 5 seasons, and on either side of it, created another 6 months on either side of it. That gave us a full 6 years living there. Lived at King and Bathurst, right on the corner there in Toronto. Loved it. Went to Montreal on the weekends with my then girlfriend, and only made it to Vancouver, interestingly enough, after I had left, well after. But literally was my home, you know, because we worked there and lived there for so long and so many hours, and it was just... You just stayed, you know. I had an apartment up there that I kept the entire run, right across from the Wheat Sheaf, which is the oldest bar in North America, right? And there are many places in Canada, in Toronto specifically, that if I walk past them to this day, I will burst into tears. Honestly, because of this, what I emotionally went through. Acting on those like corners or in front of certain stores, because I would trigger the emotional response from some of the lines I was doing and some of the dialogue off of the geography of the space. I would make you know, the doorways or the windows of places be my cue point for where I would look to find it's actor stuff, but I did it so often, and we worked so many at the specific places, the outside of what our diner was, outside of the comic book shop, a couple of the clubs. There was so much loaded that if I walk by those places, I can feel it to this day. It's beautiful.
It was incredible. And I filled the shelves. I filled up the cupboards of the states, which they were unable to do themselves. You had some very competent governors, and you had some very incompetent governors. But, you know.
Yes, they were incompetent in kissing his ass to get masks and gloves and shit like that. A competent governor would know that when dealing with a megalomaniac, narcissist, idiot who only judges human beings by how much they suck a new hole in his butt, that's awful. Would know how to deal with them. You know, competent governors, they knew how to deal with them. Yeah,
I went around with the cupboards were bare, and they were. As far as Fauci, and that was a big thing.
First of all, no, they weren't. He let a lot of the emergency supplies expire because they have to actually be, you know, the machines like ventilators that we store for emergencies, like a chemical weapon attack or something like that. That kind of shit, they have to be maintained. He let the maintenance contract lapse because fuck it. What do we need to spend money on that for? He let like rubber gloves and that kind of stuff rot on the shelves. They have to be cycled. You give them away to hospitals free, so they have them, like 6 months ahead of when they're going to be useless, so that they can use them up. Saves them money, saves medical costs for the country, and then you replenish them with the budget, so you have fresh ones all the time. He didn't do that. They were empty because he emptied them.
Ventilators
Jesus.
and all of the equipment and all of the things that were.
The Obama administration had a deal to buy ventilators below cost. They negotiated this like long contract, and Trump ditched it and then had to buy all those same ventilators at retail in the middle of an emergency when everybody else was buying them. Part of the deal.
From goggles to clothing and the plastics, and we did an amazing job. Got no credit for it.
Clothing?
But everything is stocked, and right now the whole country is stocked for something like this. The country, and this is long before I got there, was not prepared. Fauci, however, was not.
We had a pandemic response team. You fired them, dumbass.
Big factor with me. He is a big factor now because Biden chose to make him such, but he was not a big factor with me. He said he didn't want to close to, as you know, very strongly, because we talked about this. He didn't want to close to China. He didn't want to only close to China. Trump thought, well, if you keep the dirty, poor Chinese people out, then we're fine. That was his whole plan. Meanwhile, the rich Chinese people who buy stuff and do trade with him and I guess design and create stuff for his daughter's clothing line, shit like that. They can fly over in private jets, but it's all the poor, dirty foreigners. That's the thing. Keep those folks out. They're the diseased ones. But the rich ones that buy beef and pork, they can fly over and make deals with our, meat packing company. Oh, wait, there's outbreaks in meat packing companies? How the fuck did that happen? Want to close up to China, which was heavily infected. He didn't want to close up to Europe, which was heavily infected. 4 months later, he said that President Trump made a great decision and saved perhaps hundreds of thousands of lives, because I was really a single vote. I had 21 people in a room, and none of them wanted to close.
And by the way, Alex Azar was the head of the pandemic response team before he put Pence in charge of it. And Alex Azar was like, even Peter Navarro allegedly was like pulling his fucking hair out at that meeting going, we got to shut everything fucking down. This is terrible. The Chinese are throwing people in boxes. They are not building hospitals. They are building prisons for the dying. None of those things they built were hospitals. None of them. They were prisons. They had glass windows, a door with a fucking 4 bars on it, and a thing to shove food under the door so they could eat. And if you survived the disease, you'd get out later. If you didn't, they just bury you quickly. Everybody at that meeting was going, we got to do every fucking thing. What they didn't want to do was just shut off travel to China. And by the way, at the time he did it, you know who had already closed off travel to China? United Airlines, American Airlines, and Delta.
Down, but I did because I saw what was happening in China and in Europe. Fauci did not play as big a role with me.
By the way, he shut off Europe, whatever, but left the UK out of that because he didn't consider them part. I guess it was pro-Brexit on his part. And UK had a bigger outbreak. Like Italy and UK were the worst. And a lot of what hit the East Coast came in through Italy and the UK later.
It's actually a pretty light role. And if you also notice, oftentimes when he would say something, I'd do the opposite, which tended to be pretty good. He came out against masks, and then he became a radical masker.
Oh, this is all he wears like 5 masks and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay.
He was a radical.
We've seen this
wear 4 if you could. But at the very beginning, if you look back early on, he was against masks. I mean, he had some very different views. But he was not a big factor with me. I didn't get to see him too much. I didn't deal with him.
Okay, so, yeah, by the way, I believe that too. I think when Trump came out and basically suggested shoving a light bulb up your ass and drinking bleach to fix it, I don't think he heard that from Fauci. And there was a reason why Birx was out there effectively like a babysitter trying to correct any nonsense he would throw about. Like, it just dies because of light hitting it. Like, asshole, yeah, we know. 72 degrees and whatever, 30% humidity is the perfect stasis point for it, which is, for the record, how almost all office buildings are. That is the standard temperature for most indoor buildings where business is conducted or apartments are connected. It's a fucking petri dish for this disease. That's why the shutdown. That's why not going into the office. You can't avoid, if you live in a domicile, that's your fallback. But going to a second place where it's a perfect germinating operation for the disease is not smart. Good Lord.
Much. I made my own decisions, and they were great decisions, and I let the states run. So whether it's Florida, Texas, South Dakota, if you take a look at some of the states, South Carolina,
Yeah, the states that hid their COVID deaths did really well. The ones with China numbers, for the record, there is no way that China has less than 17 million deaths from COVID. Statistically. No fucking way. The 4,000 number is a joke. And if you only, in a country of 1.4 billion, if you had a disease that only killed 4,000 people, would you have a zero that disease policy? Would you shut down everywhere? Think about it. Honest to God. Nowhere near total, like 20% vaccination, much less the whole fucking country. Would you shut down the entire country of 1.4 billion people for 4,000 deaths? And people believe that fucking number? Are you kidding me? It's a percentage of the number of people who get it. The percentage of the number of people who've gotten it in China is closer to 17 million. Where are the bodies? They're buried in mass graves. They box them up. We did it. We had a lot of deaths. Remember the lines of boxes from the indigent and poor people and homeless people who were all dying in a big stretch and had to be buried. And we had a row of them, a Potter's Field situation. Of course they had it. Of course they did. It's absurd. They're bullshitting. The same way Florida was and got called out on it. They called Florida God's waiting room for a reason. They were like, well, they were old anyways. This is the retirement state for the United States. This is where everybody goes for their retirement. They're just like, yeah, well, I mean, what do people come down here to do but die? So if they got COVID, I mean, how much time did it really shave off the end of their life? 2 years? 2 Christmases? 3 birthdays? 1 birth of a grandchild? I mean, wow, you've seen 1 grandkid, you've seen them all.
Terrific job.
Same with
the governor
Arizona.
did a terrific job. But I let the states run and make those decisions. And
you don't have the right to override their decisions. You don't. Biden knows this. Yeah, these guys want it to be a mandate for everywhere. It isn't. There's no federal mandate for vaccination. There can't be. You can do it for businesses, but you can only do it for testing. If people are vaccinated, they don't have to get tested. But you can do a test and trace under an emergency declaration. You can do that. If he'd have done it early, if he'd have done that in the very beginning, you might have been able to isolate this thing and slow the spread down a lot. But they were like, fuck it, it's bullshit anyways. It's going to remember his story? It's going to disappear on November 4th. Day after that, if Biden wins, the next day you won't even hear about COVID. Remember that story? Good Lord.
the Republican governors did a far better job than the Democrat governors. But Fauci.
Yeah, you mean the ones in states with 200,000 people where you have to ride a dirt bike, a motorcycle, or an ATV for 3 miles to see a neighbor? Yeah, I wonder why an airborne disease didn't spread faster in that. Good Lord.
It's not a big factor. as far as I was concerned. He became a very big factor once Biden came in, and then it's almost like he couldn't make a move without asking Fauci.
Well, Mr. President.
And by the way, then why are we opening? Why is that? I mean, this is the lead in on this story. The lead in on this is that the Biden administration is talking to blue state governors specifically because they're the most reticent to start opening up, and he's been for open schools the entire time with masking, but to slow that down so that they can, cut off the spread in other areas so it doesn't hit a school really hard and kill a bunch of teachers. And a bunch of teachers are like, we don't want to go to school and we don't want to wear masks and stuff and do it all from home because it's the one way that a lot of the red state teachers have avoided getting vaccinated because they're doing it from home. So nobody can even ask you. It's when you go back to the school, then they're like, oh shit, I'm worried about COVID. Like, well, you've been vaccinated, haven't you? None of your goddamn business. All right, well.
Over the past week, something very interesting has happened. Several Democratic governors.
Yeah, you know what hasn't happened? You know what hasn't happened in the last week, ma'am? Fox and Friends has not decided that it is fucking gross to have two dudes and one woman host this show and always put the woman in a short skirt in the middle of the fucking couch down the fucking barrel of the camera. What a bunch, like this pervy bullshit has got to end. When is somebody, I almost want to be invited on that show again. I used to do it when I was on Talk Soup. Just so I can call this bullshit out. Like the whole show is wait for her to cross her legs and uncross her legs. Like it's like Basic Instinct in Friends. Honest to fucking God. And I have nothing, like this is a job for her. But fucking get a desk. She's a very attractive woman. We know. This is just wholly inappropriate, especially coming from a bunch of assholes who claim to be the better humans and claim to be Christians. It's fucking gross. Quit it. And it's always like, I mean, when is one of these assholes gonna, I want to do this show in a kilt. See if they let me sit in her spot. I promise I won't go commando, but I probably will wear like Pinocchio underwear.
Have dropped mask mandates or at least pulled back.
Don't worry, I'll promise to only tell the truth on the show because it would get really awkward really quick.
Mask mandates. And there's this clip that's going viral. It took place at a Las Vegas school. Children so excited that they don't have to wear their masks to school the next day. Take a listen to what that sounded like. Watch this.
Starting tomorrow, we don't have to wear masks anymore.
Yes, that's really sweet. It's very good. Yes, the disease is reaching a point where they will be safer. That's like saying if you've been like in a flood zone for a long time, like starting tomorrow, you won't have to tread water anymore. The water's going down to the point where you'll be able to stand. Yay! That would be the reaction. That's not about the masks, fucko. It's about the receding of the disease, which was going to happen. The problem with this whole thing, by the way, they're going to do this like this is torturing these poor children. By the way, do you guys ever remember any Gen Xers out there? Do you ever remember a day? I mean, I was out of school in 93 when the Soviet Union fell. But did they announce starting tomorrow, we're never going to have to hide under our desks to prepare for nuclear war ever again? We're not going to do an exercise regularly. Yay!
I think that would put a smile on anybody's face, but juxtapose that to what President Biden said about easing mask restrictions. He said it's premature. The CDC also said that.
Yeah, that's their concern. That's their job to be concerned. It's their job to actually give a fuck. And premature means eventually we'll get there. Not no. Masks, put your mask back on. This is mind control. Fuck, that's what they want.
Now is not the time. If now's not the time, when is?
Well, first of
when we have a therapeutic pill, for example, that keeps everybody out of the hospital, when everybody's vaccinated and boosted, when there's not and largely statistically a guarantee that we won't have another version of Delta come through and fuck them up. We won't have a version that affects children greatly. That's the concern. Statistically, is it probable? We don't know. That's why the concern in the premature nature of this, because they're tracking like 4 other variants around the globe to see if they take off. They're hoping they don't. They're hoping Omicron is the end of this. But would you want to be president? Would you want to be like, yeah, masks off, we're done, and then boom, it hits you? Here's a premise. Maybe this is something the Fox folks can grasp. Maybe the trolls could understand this. Let's operate on the perception that it was in fact, according to Trump, a bioweapon attack by the Chinese. This is part of what he's floated at several different times. He chicken shits out of full out saying it, but that's essentially what he said on multiple occasions. So let's say that's true. That turns out to be true, and that the whole primary wild type that they released was a precursor to the actual weapon. And the real attack was wear them out, send out the minor versions of it, and then right when they're never going to wear a fucking mask again and they're over it, then you hit them with the one that kills everybody. I mean, if you're going to do a chemical weapon or a biological weapon attack, isn't that how you do it? You fake out first. You wear down people's resolve. You release, you don't throw mustard gas in. You just do smoke bomb after smoke bomb after smoke bomb after smoke, and it's hard to breathe and it's difficult and you can't do it and it's very hard. But somebody in your camp or in your fucking bunker decides it's fine, it's not that bad, and then you get up and that's when you get hit with mustard gas. That's how you do it, especially if you've got less of it. If you don't have enough of it. Like Jim Jones, exactly. Jim Jones, everybody thinks that those people drank the Kool-Aid for the first time and died. They didn't. They drank the Kool-Aid multiple times. He wore them down. So even if you believe Trump's bullshit, especially if you believe Trump's bullshit, you would think, all right, if somebody planned this, then the plan wouldn't be to just release it and go, I hope it gets all the people we want to get. You'd have a 3-point strategy for it. If you're smart enough to come up with that shit, you're smart enough to go, okay, we know people will fight back against it. If we do it right away and it kills too many people, everybody will pull back in and the breeze will blow it away. We won't get any of it on them. They'll hide out and it'll be done. So you got to hit them with something lighter and then something a little heavier and then lighter again and then something that's almost inert, not really harmful, gives you the sniffles. And then they're like, fuck, everything's back to normal. And then you hit them with something terrifyingly awful because all these people go, no, I don't buy it until they're dead. That's what you do. So if you believe this paranoid bullshit that they're selling all the time, you would be more apt to be cautious. But the truth is they don't believe it. They don't believe that. And they know full well it's a genuine disease, and they know time has passed, and they know that vaccinations are effective. They know boosters are effective. They know that masks lower the amount of virus you get in your system when you're talking to someone who does have it, or if it's in the fucking air. So you won't get it like as big a hit of it growing in your system, so you won't end up in the hospital, unlike if you had, like you're talking open air. Right? So the reality is that he's out of office. He stopped giving a fuck after he lost. I mean, he didn't really give a fuck. He was more concerned about the stock market going down And if he had any fucking brains, if he was a whole different person, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We've done this before where, you know, if Trump had only any of that shit, he'd be a different human being. He can't be Trump and still think this shit through. But if he'd have just said, this is really awful. What's coming is not the fault of the Chinese, but it's a natural disease and it's coming our way. It's going to affect the whole world, but I am uniquely qualified to get you through this. And I'm going to get you through this. It's going to be rough. I'm not going to bullshit you. We're going to get through this. I want everybody to, we're going to go in lockdown. We're going to pass a couple of bills to make sure that you guys, your savings aren't wiped out. Your businesses aren't wiped out. We're going to keep you afloat until we can get through this. And we're going to slowly but surely make sure that we have health measures in place. And as soon as we have a vaccine that works, everybody can trust, we'll get out there. If he'd have talked even if he just read that on a teleprompter instead of those stupid little shove a light bulb up your ass pressers he had, if somebody else had been able to even talk him in to being sensible, again, he wouldn't be Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a fuck up for life. But if he'd done any of that shit, he'd have been reelected in a landslide. Sorry, he would have. He'd have been. There's no fucking. Everybody knew it too. But he's not capable of it. And now that he's out of office, he doesn't give a rat fuck. And these guys all work at a vaccinated company.
That's adorable. It should have happened a long time ago. And everybody says that the mask for the new variant, at least, is virtually ineffective. I mean, totally ineffective. So I don't know what they're doing and why they're doing.
This is why they're transitioning. The fact that he just said it out loud and then doesn't understand what he actually fucking said, it tells you all you need to know about him. That's what you need. That's what you need to know about Donald. He's like, it seems like the new variant, goes right through the mask and seems to be much more contagious. So I don't know why they're dropping the mask. Well, because it's less virulent, it's less dangerous, it's more like a cold than any of the other variants. And if you get it, you end up with some immunity that can push back against the Delta variant, because that's at least what out of South Africa and other places, that seems to be what's occurred, because Delta has completely been pushed out of cycle by the Omicron variant. It overwhelmed it. It on an evolutionary scale, it outlived it. And because of that, that's when you can start talking about removing mask restrictions. That's exactly when you can do it. And he even explained it and then said he doesn't understand it. This is the biggest problem they have, is that time ticks forward. They just don't, they will refuse to admit that this is a factor of things have occurred. This disease happened when it did, under the idiot that it happened under, and then he fucked around and found out for months and months and months, left a total open gap for Biden to have to fill with a plan to get people vaccinated. They are largely. The Delta wave hit. It was a hard one. It reinforced the need for vaccinations. Got people boosted who were in danger. I got boosted myself. A lot of people I know got boosted. And then when Omicron came through, everybody held their breath, no pun intended, to hoping it wouldn't be worse as far as the damage it did. The Delta, and it turns out this variant affects your throat more than your lungs. That was the huge difference between wild type, which gave you that broken glass lung x-ray that they showed on everybody, and Delta, which did the same fucking thing, but hitting it more the upper chest part of the lungs, and Omicron, which just stuck around in the throat largely. There's a difference. And part of what protected us from that difference, and why a lot of the people didn't get wiped out during Delta on the same scale. And by the way, red states started counting their deaths once Biden got in office and were tapping their numbers down while Trump was in office because he was asking them to. Wait till those stories come out when DeSantis tries to run in 2 years. And Trump will go, I didn't tell him to do that. He made that up. Please. But that's what's happening. That's what the South African doctors found. That's what the UK doctors have found. That's what our doctors are finding. And the only thing they're being cautious about is, what if there's another variant around the corner that before people have gotten either Omicron or vaccinated or both, swings around and wipes out a bunch of people who think it's all bullshit because he told them it was bullshit.
But they've come out and said that the mask has almost no impact, especially on the new variant. And just don't.
And that's why they're lowering the mask mandates. All right.
Inconceivable.
Fucking hell, he's done.
What's going on. But a lot of the states are opening up, and I think politically it would be unacceptable. That's just not going to be able.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Hang out too much longer. It's ridiculous. But, that clip is so beautiful to watch. But it should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
No, it should not have. No, it should not have happened a long time ago. It should not have happened a long time ago because people would fucking have died. If it happened before Delta, the death rate would have spiked. And maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe that's what he means. We should have dropped it a long time ago. Just kill off a bunch of these fuckers. I mean, we got too many people anyways. Talk about unfillable jobs. It's like that old Bobcat Goldthwait bit about how, like, employment was great in the 70s after Vietnam. And he's just like, yeah, because a dead guy can't flip a burger.
Place where the virus emanated from, Communist China, is the place now hosting the Olympics. And it is on track, the Olympics happening right now, to be the lowest rated Winter Olympics in American history. What is it about these Olympics that are making people turn it off?
The treatment of the Chinese government, of the athletes themselves, of the Uyghurs, of their human rights record, and of the fact that during the time that they're doing this, the Communist Party themselves are eating beef, corn, pork, and soybeans that Donald Trump sold them.
Well, I think one of the things they turned it off on television is because the place is empty. I would have said that.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, people they're not excited. It's the empty stands thing. It's just COVID in general.
They would have had those stadiums full. But you look at it, it looks like it's just a small event. There's no cheering. There's no anything. And
So what? So what are the Summer Olympics? What are you talking about?
Great athletes from all the countries. And our country, they're working so hard. And it's beautiful to watch in that way. But there's no...
But you should have pulled them? Is that where... They want you to say our athletes shouldn't even be there. You're supposed to say that.
You have no fans. I mean, they have a serious policy. You look at a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and they'll have like nobody there. And so I really do think that.
Wait a minute, Eric's there?
I know you are also getting at the fact that all the abuse and all the other problems caused by China, including the China virus, and I understand that also. But it is a much less exciting event to watch on television when you see.
Yeah, it's really just the dynamism that's why it's not the slave labor and concentration camps and rape camps and forced sterilization in mass that's happening now and this second and now with no end in sight. It's not that. It's not all this stuff that will happen until Xi Jinping is no longer in control and either the Shanghai contingent of the CCP takes over or they break up into 6 separate little countries like the USSR did, which they're probably going to do, I would say, within 6 years. That's another story. But yeah.
Nobody in the stadiums, no cheering, and it just doesn't feel like the Olympics.
No, it doesn't.
Hey, dumbass, they're literally asking you about Uyghur concentration camps. And this asshole went to crowd size. Just think what a petty prick this dude is. It's kind of amazing.
There's a national conversation that seems to be completely out of touch with the American people at every step of the way. And I think one of those examples might be the latest obsession, President Trump, which is again and always seemingly about you. Maggie Haberman of the New York Times has a book out. She's been discussing it on CNN and other platforms.
Yeah. by the way, Trump sat down for a long interview with Maggie Haberman for this book. The whole book, and I haven't read it yet, but this, I mean, she's using parts of stuff. Basically, it's one of these things that happens after an event. When you write a bunch of fucking articles, what they do is after it's over, if there's a lot of exciting stuff in it that happened over the years, book companies will go to journalists who covered the White House or covered the Pentagon or covered the Congress or something during a big scandal that wrote article after article because they were basically sitting there writing the chapters of the book live while it was going on. And then they basically go make a big, make an addendum to it, wrap it all up in one thing and thread it with either your personal experience, your personal story that'll make it, fit, where you were, what you were experiencing that might make it a little interesting on a personal level, or do a big interview with the main focus of that thing and then thread their interview through all the shit you were there watching and that you did, and then you can correct anything that turned out to be wrong. You can tell stuff that you didn't have time or the print space to go into, or that your editor cut out. You can just expand on that shit. Warren Commission, the Few Good Men, all those things. That's how they work. That's and it's a natural thing. They do it at the end of a television show. They do it it's not weird at all. And Maggie Haberman had bizarrely close contact with Trump, considering what she wrote about him. I mean, it's surprising that he kept talking to her. And apparently, I read an article last week where, just as the story about this book coming out, because it's not coming out till October or some shit, I want to say. It's going to be a little while. But some of it's been leaking to build interest. That she did this interview with him at Mar-a-Lago when he was basically sitting down and talking to anybody earlier last year. And his staff was like, don't talk to Maggie Haberman. He's like, but she always writes about me. He really doesn't give a shit what you say about him, just as long as you say his name. He read that whole, there's no, all press is good press. There's, no press is bad press, however you want to carry it. He doesn't care. If it gets his name in the lights, in the papers, or whatever, it works.
And the big takeaway is that you have ripped up papers and flushed them down the toilet. What is your reaction to what you're hearing on?
No. The big takeaway is that he stole 15 boxes worth of materials and took them to fucking Mar-a-Lago and hid him in his apartment like he's going to use them as leverage to get out of foreign debt later. Also, the tearing up of documents is illegal, and the flushing of them would be illegal as well. So everything he said about Hillary Clinton is true of him. So wait for his email
mainstream
server
media
to show
channels
up
in this
point.
book by Maggie Haberman.
Yeah, it's fake news, and she's a fake writer. She got a Pulitzer Prize for Russia, and then they found out it was a hoax. So, and so did others. Frankly,
it wasn't a hoax. Just knock it off. It wasn't Russiagate. It wasn't a hoax. He tried every which way to try and do business. The only part of it that allows him, in his mind, to call it a hoax is Putin never lived up to any of the extra stuff, like a Trump Tower, any of that shit. That just went away. That was never going to happen. In Putin's mind, probably didn't need to happen because he had leverage on him. He had compromise. But the minute he leaves office, he's fucking useless. And at a certain point, because of the limited control of the executive branch, Putin could only get so much out of him. One of them was shit on and try to break up NATO. Just talk about how it's obsolete and unnecessary. Start breaking it up. Try to get people to kick in more. By the way, that whole thing about getting them to kick in more money was basically trying to get some of them to say no and leave NATO. That was the purpose. Not get them to pay us more. They didn't pay us more. What material did they need? Most of them have stuff for their own military that they would effectively donate in a time of war. The 2% part of it, what are they going to do? Send NATO munitions to be stored in a special, the cupboards were bare? Were the NATO cupboards bare, for fuck's sake? No, Putin got all he could get out of this knucklehead.
Ones that get Pulitzer Prizes, they happen to work around you and around Pete. And I will tell you, it's a disgrace. But no, it's a totally false story. She made it up. I don't believe they have sources. Who's going to be a source for that anyway? Who would know that? There's no source. They make it up. You know, they...
Staffers. They're the ones. You do realize, you ever see those signs? Please only flush toilet paper? Somebody's got to keep the White House toilets working. And when there's something in the toilet that's classified, I don't think the White House plumber, except I guess in deference to the Nixon years, any of the plumbers have top secret clearance. They might have to call someone with clearance to get the clog out. Fucking hell. Can you imagine that series of phone calls? Blech.
They oftentimes, these fake writers like her, they act like they know me, like she knows me. I haven't spoken to her in a very, very long time. She knows me no better.
He just did a huge interview with her for this book. Hey, asshole, just because you're lying about your memory and you can't remember shit does not mean she's lying about talking to you just because you can't remember talking to anyone. Good Lord.
The other writer, but they write books like they know, and then they make things like that up. And there would be no way of her knowing if it were the facts. There would be no way of her.
And remember, folks, I can't say this clearly enough, and a bunch of this is going to come out. He thinks he's protected by the idea that this can't be known. That's going to be his storyline, because there's lots of people who absolutely fucking know. And also, there's a huge reason why this will be one of the most easily corroborated elements of what went on in the White House if it indeed did happen, because that's one of the things that gets around the office. He keeps trying to flush shit down the toilet. He what? He keeps trying to flush it. He tears up his... We have to tape back the... I had to tape together his PDB again because it's got to go in the presidential records. They have to keep it because he makes notes on it, and his notes are part of the record. Then he tears them up. We got to tape them back together. He tried... The other day, the toilet was backed up. They tried to fix it, and they said there's paper in it. So we had to bring in 2 Secret Service guys with a fucking plunger, and I had to look at what was stuck in the fucking toilet. And then we had to, like, dry it and fucking... God, and he did it again. Like, that's the conversation that's happening in the White House. Of course someone had to fish shit out. Seriously, it's not a shredder, dumbass. Flushing top secret papers down the toilet goes out into the normal sewage. Like, and do you think any, like, as much as we all like to think of spies as being the James Bond types, do you think any nation who means us ill is below going to, hearing this rumor around and setting someone in the fucking sewage, like with a sifter, just mining for shredded paper? And how the fuck do we know that's not how he got it to people? I got another package, and watch it. I had one of the Trump Tower taco bowls, so it might be a little messy. You might have to bleach it, but it's on its way. I turn and he calls the Russians and lets them know he's got some big business coming their way.
Understanding that or knowing it, but it's a totally fake story made up by her. As much of the news is, I'll tell you, this country, we have to get honest reporting. Because if we don't get honest reporting, it's really leading us down a bad path. And it's really leading us down a path of anger.
Well, it's true. Their obsession knows no...
Oh, that's, by the way, this is his whole thing, that and we're a tinderbox and people of anger. He's basically trying, this is him, the only time he gets news these days is when it looks like he's trying to foment a rebellion or another coup or some violence, because that's when people pay attention. The rest of this blather, nobody gives a fuck about. Dead serious. It's when he says the tinderbox stuff or they do it with anger, those kind of things. What he's saying is it's the same thing. The one piece of news he got out of that rally he did a couple weeks ago was he was saying they're going to be the biggest protests in the streets and people are going to need to, react very strongly or whatever he said, going at all these state capitals if things happen in Georgia that don't go our way, yada, yada. That stuff got him in the news because it sounded like he was basically telling his people to attack capitals all over the place, which he effectively was, but he just doesn't give a shit if they actually do it. But this is the same shit. It's the only thing that's going to get him, tagged in the news. And they're going to blow off the rambly bullshit and write, because the real article about these interviews when they write them is not Trump, seems to be trying to get his followers to threaten violence or whatever, which is 2 of the sentences out of there. And he knows he needs to throw that in there, that red meat to get some attention. But the real articles written about these interviews should be that they're the same blather over and fucking over. He just, it doesn't matter what question, he drops his own needle into whatever groove he wants and prattles the same bullshit line and then, punts the needle to the next groove.
Mr. President, I mean, 90% of CNN's audience has left, and a lot of it has to do with their inability to obsess day by day after tweet, as they did for 4 years, with an agenda to boot. But you just mentioned, we just talked about.
By the way, CNN's viewership, is relatively normal to what it's been. The extra viewership they got during the Trump years might be down 90%, but not the overall. Plus, ratings for news is fucked in general. Let me explain something. Because it's I at least try to make this comedically entertaining as best I can, and so therefore we digest the news, and you can take away whatever you want. And like I said, I show the whole thing, most of the time when we do these things, all the way through, so you can make your own judgments. If you want to go watch the whole thing by itself, you're free to do so and see if whatever I said, you would take a different way or whatever. It's different than when the news shoots an interview themselves and throws something up there. This is something they posted and I'm just referencing. Fair use. But the news itself should never be about ratings. The news itself, is, emergencies are the reason for ratings. People tune in because something is awful and something is currently happening and you might be in danger or there might be something to be on the lookout for or whatever. They tune in to see that. But when it doesn't directly affect you, or you're not in an election cycle and you're trying to catch up on some stuff and whatever, arguably you should be able to put the news on pause. The news shouldn't have nonstop fucking ratings. Fiction always beats the news anyways. 1.4 thousand. Hey, there you go. 1,400 people in the chat. Yay! All right, here we go.
Book, and part of the reason you're on the program today is to talk about your book. It's called Our Journey.
Oh, God. He'll only go on this show if you'll pump the book because he's a broke son of a bitch. It's a picture book. He can't even write. It's scribbled with bullshit. Just the lowest res nonstop.
Together. It is a coffee table book.
Excuse me. That's fake. It's a square book. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Somebody in Fox thinks it looks chintzy because it's a big square picture book because it's basically Instagram shots and shit he stole from the public record that he's reselling himself. But then that's not what the book looks like, you moron. I've looked at it already. We looked at this. Hold on. Here, I'll show you. That's what it looks like, dickheads. Hold on, shrink this down so you can see it. It's fucking square. It's a coffee table book. Just pictures. Here's me fisting Air Force One. And the pictures in it are, you can also get it. There's 2 versions, autographed and, sorry. 45 books. There's only 1 book. I had 45 books. Some of the pictures. Forrest, one of a kind. He's so good. So good, this guy. Here's me. Stop it. Don't get too excited. Just my coat flaring up. Here's me walking in front of the queen like an asshole. This was a big rally. People have never seen anything like this. I mean, sure, MLK, but not really, not really. Here's my kids when we're leaving. Here's me signing stuff twice. Here's me. Look at all these okay, no, I'm not ordering it. Here's regulations. This used to keep lead out of water, and I got it down to this. All this is now free lead. And then this is me and Macron eating on the side of the rope in the old historical buildings you're not allowed in. I'm like, I will only eat in one place, on the dishes that say do not touch. Them autographic Bibles. To the Lion of Judea, love, the second best guy in the world, next to you, JK, I'm really first, DJT. Oh, look, they've got more. They finally got some endorsements. It was just Don Jr. and Ivanka. It's funny, it's patriotic, and sometimes the entire family will enjoy. Oh, sorry, something. President Trump's Sergio Gore. Newest book, Our Journey Together, now available for pre-order. Okay. Congratulations, friend, on this selling book, Our Journey Together. Incredible sales the first week. Get your God. Only if they put the sales link. Amazing news. Is now carrying the winning team publicity book. First authors. Oh, I see. It's their company. Good Lord. That's it. That's all of them, by the way. That's the whole thing. Do not sell my personal information. They had to put this at the top, I guess. Get your copy now. And let's see what other books. They shop books. What other books do they have? The autograph ones sold out. There were 12. Now these delivery in March 2022. They're out. So you can't get glue or leather. But there's the other books are well, there's other book. There's 45 books has just a book. Okay. But it doesn't look like that at all. Mm-hmm. Get back in there, silly.
Pictures from throughout your presidency as well as when you were running. If you would, share with our viewers. You've sold a ton of copies of this book. What is it?
Well, we're about...
Wait, hold on. I had a very good relationship with President Vladimir Putin. Getting along with Russia is a good thing. Not, what does it say down here at the bottom?
300,000 copies already sold, and we're ordering another 400,000. And interestingly, it's not even believable. The printer is one of the biggest in the country. Said,
yes, one of the biggest in the country. Winning Team Publishing. Most of the books that I get are from Winning Team Publishing. But everybody except Winning Team Publishing has run out of, has got plenty of leather and glue and paper and ink. But Winning Team Publishing,
you can't get paper, you can't get ink, you can't get glue, you can't get leather.
Look, we would love to sell more copies of your book. I mean, they're selling like hotcakes, 9 at a time with syrup on top, Mr. President. But yeah, it's interesting. We just can't. We'd love to make more, but I don't know.
He said, we've never had a problem getting paper or any of these things before.
Because I was just in a few airports, for the record. And I was also on the Monsters Rock cruise. There was a guy on there who's a photographer who shoots like some of the most classic rock era photographs ever. And he was there autographing copies of his book. And he had lots of them. They were picture books of pictures he took himself of very famous people. And entire articles, there are 3 pages written by a lot of the guys that were actually photographed by him live about the experience, about the time, about what like complete sentences and everything. He had a few copies of that. Yeah, he did all right.
The supply chain, but it is getting done. Nevertheless, it's been a tremendous seller, far greater than what we thought, because usually that kind of a book, sells on a limited basis, but we're selling numbers like
Well, the two-ply version, quilted, is selling very well, and the one that puffs Febreze into the air. Uh-oh,
Not
666
too many
likes.
people
Look at
have
that.
seen before.
Right when Trump is talking about his book. Coincidence? I think not.
Really, it's a little bit of a romance. It was done with beautiful pictures of the time spent in the White House, and
It was very romantic. Yes, it's the most romantic time when 600,000 Americans have died, many of them prone on ventilators, never seeing their families again. I mean,
what happened and the reason it became such a big seller is that it's pretty simple. They look at what's going on now with inflation and
yeah, and they want to jack off to the past. That's what they're doing. It's just a bunch of maggots. Like, remember what it used to be like? Jesus Christ.
Afghanistan withdrawal, the way it was done. I was the one that got it set to be withdrawn. You know, we were down to 2,000 soldiers. We hadn't lost a soldier.
Yes, hadn't taken any staff out, hadn't taken anybody to support out, hadn't taken any of the contractors out, hadn't taken any of the support folks from the Afghans and their families who qualified for the special immigrant visas, hadn't taken any of them out. Never was going to. Because we were going to keep our embassy, obviously, after the fucking place fell. And we were going to keep the military base there. Yeah, because
18 months, think of that. Not one soldier. And then they did that horrible, botched withdrawal the way they did it. And
oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. We were in Afghanistan for 20 years. Are we still in Afghanistan? Anybody know? Because 64 people died in Afghanistan while he was president. And our soldiers served honorably getting us out of there. Are we still in? Anybody know if we're still in Afghanistan? We were the entirety of his presidency, even though he ran on it, getting us out. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Susan. Yes, we are out. That's true. We are not in Afghanistan anymore.
No, they see that, and they see all of the things that are happening with Russia and China and North Korea, and one of the most dangerous of all, it looks like Iran is going to be on their way to a nuclear weapon. I had them totally stopped, just like I had the pipeline in Russia stopped. You know, but they see what happened with.
They were still making it.
Greatest economy in the history of our country, and then China virus came in, and we rebuilt it again.
I mean, basically, now, what I tell you about, like, the record groove. Like, he just drops the needle and then just autoplay.
So
Same shit.
Did it twice, but we had the greatest in the history of our country in every metric. Employment, just a number.
Well, not really. I mean, post-World War II, we're like 1.3% unemployment. Also, now, way fucking better.
Our country was thriving. We were just beating everybody. And, by the way, charging China massive taxes and tariffs, taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We never took in 10 cents. And they viewed it as a romantic period, I think. And I think that's really...
Yes, it was a very romantic period. Especially the Christmas trees that look like something out of the fucking Shining Christmas special.
Why it's doing...
What happened to the Rose Garden? That romantic thing. What's more romantic than a light bulb up your ass? Honestly.
Well, because there is a lot of romance to the book. It was, despite all of the...
Wait a minute. Again, does he think that's a selling point? He doesn't mean there's, like, pictures of Melania in there. Does he? Like, if this motherfucker put a centerfold in there, I would not put it past him. Fucking, I can only imagine a bunch of, like, MAGA dudes getting the book and going, fatap, huh?
Vicious hoax.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Thanks for telling me to reset. You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. I've been on the Monsters of Rock cruise, so I wasn't here all last week. So I've forgotten how to do my own show. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, share the show, that kind of stuff. I'm almost done with the first show, and we've only gone through this one interview. Good Lord. Almost done.
And scams that they pulled and made up stories like Russia. You know, you had the Mueller, you had impeachment hoax #1, impeachment hoax #2. Despite all of that,
no, he was impeached both times.
I view it as a very glamorous time because our country was doing so well, and we were respected. Putin respected us, and President Xi of China respected us. Kim Jong-un.
Yes, because those guys respect people who are smart enough to be afraid of them.
Respected us. They all did. I tell you, Iran really respected us. They weren't doing a thing, and that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they used to come over twice a week just to cradle my balls.
You're gonna have. Now they don't even talk to the United States. They won't even talk, and they want money. They want.
We are in talks with them right now.
Billions and billions.
You broke the deal. We had to make a new one.
And people viewed it as a very beautiful and maybe romantic time in a sense, despite all.
Maybe say romantic again. All right, do you smell almonds? Is romantic your safe word in an interview if it hurts too much? Jesus.
The nonsense by the other side, and the radical left, I call it, because that's what it is. They're sick. So it was a beautiful time, and people loved it, and that's why it's selling so much. And it's an honor that you asked me that question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
it's an honor that you asked me that question. I was just, he does this kind of like tap on the head moment when he's done with an interview. Like, you do such great work. It's his way of getting out of the interview. That's when his staff is supposed to step in, and I'm done. Is that why he's saying that, or is he literally like, wow, I'm on Fox and Friends. This is exciting.
Mr.
Honestly, I'm not kidding when I say I used to be on Fox and Friends every so often. We do clips of them on TalkSoup. And post 9/11, they lost their fucking minds. I mean, Fox had a panic attack on 9/11 because it was too close to home, and they just became xenophobic and fearful and warlike and nuts more than any other group. They Dennis Millered really hard. He had the same thing. That's what happened to him. And post 9/11, a bunch of people it's like something snapped in their fucking brain, and they couldn't recognize that the scale of life is gigantic. Shit like this happens, and you recover from it if you have any strength whatsoever. They just folded and freaked out, and everything. Now it's just all bad. They just like minor panic attacks every day, and their viewers went that direction as well. Trump went that way, arguably. His xenophobic tendencies kicked into high gear post 9/11 as well. He was just it's like a self-serving hedonist up until that point, for the most part. That's what he gave a shit about. He would toy with the idea of politics, but only because it came with power, and power got you laid, and his looks weren't going to do it, so that would help. That's how he worked it in. So, I would consider going on Fox and Friends a lateral move at best, even with me just doing my live stream. I'm not kidding. From a publicity standpoint, I'm sure it would reach some people, but it would just bring more trolls than worth. It wouldn't be, it's like when Marianne Williamson went on Jesse Waters. Like, what a waste of fucking time. And this dude's like, it's an honor to be on here. I feel so lucky. It's a dream. Come on.
President, with that said, we want to look ahead towards the future, and there is some speculation swirling that Hillary Clinton is thinking about running for president again in 2024. So the question is,
the question is, can we use that as to try and relitigate that fight? Because basically Biden is kicking our asses right now. So can we pretend that it's Hillary in there? Like, this is just. You're watching three people. Look how excited they are. Look at him. Oh my God, he's going to say lock her up. If he says lock her up, I'm going to plots.
Are you going to run? And with that, will there be a repeat of the 2016 presidential election?
Well, anything's possible. Anything's possible. We're certainly looking at it, and we're working right now with a lot of great people in the Senate and in Congress, and my endorsement has meant a lot, as you know. It's.
By the way, this is him teeing up that he wants to play kingmaker, and that he'll only support people who will run interference for him with the DOJ. He thinks that's the fallback plan. He knows he can't get elected again. He's never going to fucking do it. That won't happen. He'll get eaten alive in a primary. There are a couple of people who think they can win. Only 40% of the current Republican base wants him to run again. That's pitiful considering what his numbers used to be. It's going to be even worse in a couple of years. He's getting worse every fucking time we see an interview. It's repetitive bullshit. He knows he doesn't have the strength to do it again, to do all those rallies all the way up to, I mean, he had to do like 3 on election day. Or was it the day before? It all blended together after a while. But he was just busting his ass. Maybe it was at 5? It was fucking stupid. But he's not going to do, he doesn't have the strength to do that again. He's not going to. What's he going to do? Bitch about the last election and make everybody stay home? Not going to happen. And DeSantis isn't going to pass up his shot to run. He thinks it's him. And so Trump is just going to try and get people in the House and in the Senate specifically who will guarantee that they'll only let certain people through to be justices or judges or other or pass bills if whoever's president on the Republican side protects him from the DOJ. That's his fallback plan. It's bullshit. It won't work, but it's the only one he's got.
I think it's 158-2. That's pretty good. So a lot of people want that endorsement. I think everybody wants the endorsement. We're working on getting Congress, getting the Senate, and we're looking at it very, very strongly.
Awesome.
And I think
it's not. I don't know, Stoney, but it's not that awesome. Apparently,
a lot of people are going to be happy because our country is a mess. Our country is going to hell. When you look at what's happening at our southern border.
No, it isn't. Our country is not going to hell. The world is in a rough spot because of COVID, and it's coming back, and everybody's trying to figure out the path forward. And the United States, compared to every other country on the globe, is doing fantastically considering. It's like we all had open heart surgery, and we managed to get on our feet and ambulatory again faster.
When you look at the disrespect that other countries have for us, that just a year ago we were more respected than at any time. We would never.
By the way, based on fucking what? What, that Putin didn't think he'd have to attack Ukraine? That you were just going to give it to him? That Kim Jong-un could build all these missiles and just test them later after you left office?
Respected, and now we're just totally disrespected at a level that I don't think we've ever gone that.
Do you think he even knows about the AUKUS treaty, the AUKUS agreement? You think he even knows? Does he think he knows that the Quad is back together and working? Does he know that, like, Sweden and Finland are talking about joining NATO, and that if they wanted to join, it'd take about 3 days to be in? Does he know that we're coordinating with France and Germany between carrot and stick, that we're being the stick and they're being the carrot, and it's working? Does he, I mean, do you think he all right, I know he doesn't. It's just silly.
So that's what's happening with the book, and I'll be making a decision, and I think a lot of people will be happy, and I certainly hope.
Yes, your entire family will be happy that you're not running again, because they're hoping to make their bones on your name after you fade. They're hoping that he doesn't fuck the legacy so bad that it's toxic all over the globe. Ivanka is just hoping that the Trump name sounds expensive in other countries. And for long enough for her to start, Kushner jewelry.
Choose Hillary because that gives us a very good shot.
President Trump, we're on.
No, it doesn't. You only beat Hillary because of the Electoral College, because of 75,000 votes. If you ran again against her, you wouldn't have people laying back again like they did. You wouldn't, because you're not an unknown entity. You'd have the same problems, and half of your voters don't vote anymore. Jesus.
80 seconds from a hard commercial break, which will cut us all off. But I love your focus on records, 158-2. I know you're a sports guy as well. I know you enjoy football. So here we are, Super Bowl weekend.
Excuse me, citation fucking needed.
Do you have a prediction to share with us on who wins the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm so impressed with the Cincinnati quarterback, a young guy, great guy. I met him during a game that
Make that 148-3 then, I guess.
he played in college, and he was just a fantastic guy, and he's very impressive. But again, so is Stafford. I mean, you look at what he's done, and it's pretty amazing what he's done. I just don't know. You know, who knows?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean been quarterback and ended up in the Super Bowl? That kind of what he's done and how impressive it is? Generic sports words. Generic sports words. I have the names of both the quarterbacks written on a piece of paper. Generic sports words. Jesus.
You know the expression in that stuff, who knows? I hate to make predictions. I think
Yeah, that's the expression. Who knows? You know how people just say that? You know how humans have that weird phrase they use, who knows? You've heard people say that. All the cool kids are saying it.
it's going to be a good game, but it's impressive what the two quarterbacks have done.
All right, we'll take that.
Yeah, yes, it is impressive that the two quarterbacks that made it to the Super Bowl, what they have done is impressive. It is impressive that these two guys who are quarterbacks are in the Super Bowl, and being in the Super Bowl is impressive, and therefore what they have done to get into the Super Bowl is impressive. Also, sports words. I am relatable. Squirt, 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 squirt. I am relatable. Jesus Christ.
A bit of a political answer, Mr. President, but we'll give you that. It's okay.
A little bit political.
A little bit. It's all right. But thank you for joining us. The book is called Our Journey Together, and congratulations on the amazing success of the book, Our Journey Together. And thank you so much
Thank you, Mr.
for
President.
joining us this morning.
Thank you very much,
Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
By the way, I've decided to release a picture book called Our Journey Together, which is just pictures of me in this stool over the last 2 years, just sitting here talking into my microphone as Ficus and other people. And I'm just gonna sell it at 42books.org.